Hi, this is Matthew. I've entitled the message today, The Disconnect in the Brain of the Leftist. And what I mean by that is that there are certain thought processes in the brain of the leftist people, the people on the left side of politics, people that are referred to as liberals, people are referred to as progressives. And there seems to be a very big logical disconnect in the brains of many of the leftists, especially the ones that are in Hollywood that are fighting for all these evil things like abortion and gay marriage and all these different things. And so I'm just going to discuss a little bit of what I mean by that. So what I'm saying when I talk about the disconnect in the brain of the leftists is things like, for instance, um, Alyssa Milano stood up in front of a bunch of people recently, and I think it was in Georgia or Kentucky, where they were having a vote to see if they could make abortion illegal as long as there's a heartbeat in the baby. And she says she stands up there and she's talking about how these people, these men, are deciding what I can do with my uterus. Well, one thing, Miss Milano, the first thing is you do not live in that state. You do not have any rights to vote in that state. You have no rights to speak in that state. However, you did what you did. So let's just talk about this for a minute. We're not talking about what you can do with your uterus. If you want to take your uterus and cut it out and make little stick figures out of it or whatever you want to do, you can eat it. You can feed it to your cat. We don't give a flip. Here's what we do care about: what you do with the thing in the uterus, that thing that's called a baby, that thing that's called a human being. That is what we care about. That is what human beings care about. It's called caring about people because they're actual people. They're alive people. And that's what we care about. Okay, so that's the disconnect in the liberal brain, the leftist brain. The leftist brain says, if this baby is in my uterus, this baby is part of me. Therefore, I can do what I want to with it. No, that is not the case. You cannot do whatever you feel like you want to do with your baby because your baby is a human being. So that is a disconnect in the liberal brain. Another disconnect in the liberal or leftist brain is when they say that Christians should be forced to do things that they don't want to do when it comes to like sinful things, morality, things like that. Christians should have to bake a cake and write something on it that they find offensive. Now, if you went to Walmart, Kmart, whatever, any place, and you asked for a pornographic message to be put on a cake or anything like that, they would refuse, and they would have no problem with it. Nobody would have any problem with them refusing. But if they don't, if a Christian baker doesn't want to put, happy wedding Steve and Bob or whatever, then they don't, then they're going to get sued. They're going to get closed down. They're going to lose their business. They're going to be maybe jailed. They're going to be ostracized by the whole country is just going to hate them simply because they're refusing to participate in something that they find offensive. Now, I will say that I don't think anybody should deny the sale of a cake. If you sell cakes, if that's what you do for a living, if you have a business where you sell cakes, you shouldn't deny the sale of that cake simply because the person who's buying it is gay or whatever. But you should have the right to not decorate that cake or write on it the way you feel, or in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable or anything. If I don't want to write something on a cake or write something on a greeting card, I shouldn't have to do that simply because it's my business and somebody says that they want me to do that. If somebody wanted me to write a greeting card that said, Jesus is evil and whatever, I'm just using that as a weird example. But the point I'm making is that there's some things that I won't write. There's some things that I won't draw. There's some things that I just won't participate in simply because I find those things morally reprehensible or religiously reprehensible, and I shouldn't have to. And there's plenty of places and people where you can go to that will write whatever you want to on the cake. So just find another person, find another business. If you don't find a Christian that'll do it, go to an atheist or go to a gay cake maker or whatever. That's the disconnect in the brain. Is that in the leftist brain is that just because I have a certain right to something means that everybody else's rights have to flow with mine. They have to do what I tell them to do regardless. So that's another thing that the leftist brain, there's a disconnect in the logic of the leftist brain. So basically, What I'm trying to say is that your rights end where mine begin, and your rights end where where the baby's life begins, and this kind of thing. Uh, you don't have rights to do anything you want to do simply because you think you want to do it. There are some limits to things you can and can't do. And one of those things is murdering babies. You can't murder a baby. That's not your right. It doesn't matter where that baby's living. Doesn't matter if it's in your womb, outside of your womb. You do not have the right to murder a baby. Now, if you're in danger, of physical danger, it is possible. That's like if you're a mother and that's in physical danger, it's possible to remove the baby early from the womb without aborting the baby, without killing the baby. That is possible, and that does sometimes happen. It's like, I think it's 1 in 1,000 babies or something like that. Does occasionally cause physical problem to the mother, but 90% or more, 99%, whatever it is, a very large percentage. The abortions do not have to take place. There's no medical reason for them. And murdering your baby because you were raped, murdering your baby because you had sex when you were underage, murdering your baby because you had sex when you were married to someone else, none of these are valid. There's no valid reason to murder your baby. There's just no valid reason to do that. And Miss Milano and other people like her, they're not using logic. They're using emotion, and their emotions are skewed. Their logic is skewed. They're wrong, and we as American people need to stand up against this. We need to stop it. We need to stop it. It's evil. It's evil to a degree that it even surpasses Nazism, because the Nazis were forcing people to do things, and these people are doing it of their own free will. These mothers, these doctors are doing this of their own free will. It's not like somebody was going into a house and stealing a bunch of children and killing them. No, it's the mothers that are doing this. It's the mothers that are paying these so-called doctors and nurses to do this. It's evil, it's disgusting, it's vile, and it needs to stop. We need to do everything within our power as Americans and as human beings to put an end to this evil right now. Whatever we can do, we need to do it. We need to write our senators, we need to write our president, we need to stand on the lawn of the White House and with picket signs. We need to yell, we need to scream, we need to get whatever we can, do whatever we can to get the attention of the right people so that this kind of evil can stop. Because it's no different than if I were to just walk into a crowd of children and start shooting or stabbing children in the head. Zero difference whatsoever. It's murdering children in the womb, outside of the womb, makes no difference. There's no difference between those two things whatsoever. If I were to do that, if I were to walk into a school or a church or something and start stabbing or killing children, it wouldn't take long for someone to stand up and completely destroy me. They would obliterate me. They'd shoot me. They'd stab me. They'd tackle me, whatever. But yet we sit around and just watch as millions and millions and millions of human babies are murdered, and we do nothing about it. It is evil and vile, and it needs to stop. Thank you.